Hi everyone, welcome to Kats Creations live on a Friday night, where tonight we are going to be tackling another fall wreath. So I encourage you guys to stay tuned and watch. This should be super fun. We are going to be using 21-inch plus 10-inch Deco mesh on a 14-inch work frame. As our base, we're going to be using a sign from Hobby Lobby. But before we get started and I give you all the dimensions and show you what we're going to be putting together, if you are here for the first time, I'd like to welcome you first of all and thank you for joining us. But let us know where you're from. We'd like to welcome you, and hopefully you'll make a crafting connection here through the context of our live. If you, hold on, I'm trying to mentally going through the list. If you like this design and want to put something together similar, once you have all your materials ready, go ahead and click the share button on the bottom. Sharing it to your page kind of makes it easier for you to find the tutorial when you're ready to put something like this together. So much easier to find. If you are on YouTube, you are catching a live from Friday, August the 13th. That's a little odd. Should have probably been like Halloween themed, yeah. But we're doing fall tonight, so if you want to get notified when I upload a new video to YouTube, make sure you click the subscription bell in the upper right hand corner for YouTube subscribers. That way you're notified when we put in a new video. If you're on YouTube and want to participate in a Facebook Live, join me every Friday at 5 Pacific, 7 Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern on Kats Creations, Kats Creations Wreaths. That's my Facebook page, business page name. And if you on Facebook want to be notified when I go live, make sure you click the like and follow button, and then you'll need to do both. And then when the video is going live, tap the video, upper right hand corner, 3 dots, click on that, opens up your sub menu, and then you can turn live notifications on. Other than that, I think we're ready to go ahead and start on our design. So 14-inch wire work form. People are starting to see these pop up in a number of different places, so just keep checking if they're currently out of stock. A lot of places you can sign up for email notifications to let you know when products become available. On this work frame, we have 9 twist tinsel ties to the outside, 9, and then there's also 9 on what's called, it's not an elevated work frame because this actually starts at the bottom, kind of has a rail that goes up and then back down. So, and then there's 9 on the inside, so a grand total of 18. So it doesn't really change the layout of what we're used to working on a regular Dollar Tree, where we would have 6 on the inside, 12 on the outside. In this case, it's 9 and 9. So I'm going to start first by using a 21-inch Deco mesh. This came from Craft Outlet. And so we're going to poof the entire base and then come back in and accent it with the same 3 colors, just to kind of give it some more texture and a fuller base. We'll add our sign, which, like I said, came from Hobby Lobby. We'll embellish it with some leaves, some pumpkins, some berries, and then we'll add a bow and our ribbon tails and that stuff.
And now, is that 21-inch from Craft Outlet from last year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is still available, but it's the brown. It has a darker brown here, gold and orange bands. This is what they would call, some of it's wide foil and some of it isn't. It's basically, you have metal foils running through it every 4th column, so it's not like the premium. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop this below. It keeps it from having to roll all over the counter.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl Vassar sent 310 stars.
Wow, thanks, Cheryl.
Different number.
Yeah, love that. So stars are towards our fundraising, and I didn't update that before. I just been super busy today trying to get a bunch of stuff done. And then Some kind of exciting news. Our oldest daughter is going to get married, not this weekend, but next weekend. It's kind of, we're just going to kind of put it together as quickly as possible because her fiance is here from England, so they have 90 days in order to get married to change their visa from fiance status to married status. So that's the reason for the rush. So I will not be here next weekend because we'll actually be in Lake Tahoe. So that's where I'll be. So we're gonna put this one together, and the first thing I'm gonna do is we've gathered together all the cut ends, and I'm actually gonna go to the inside right underneath one of my tinsel ties with a zip tie, and I'm gonna zip tie this.
Yep, Gail, the 21st.
The 21st. Yes, ma'am. So I am going to try and do the best that I possibly can to make sure that we get some videos done.
Yeah, well, that's my birthday.
Is it really? Oh, well, happy birthday. So this is where we're going to start. We're going to do 10-inch poops. Let me try to spin this around right here. So I'm starting on the inside, even though you can go 8-inch poops, you can go whatever size you want. I just find that 8-inch poops works well for this particular work frame. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as I'm making my poops, I'm going to make sure that everything is unwrinkled, because a lot of times when you're forming your poofs, it folds. So I always make sure that everything is situated and that my poofs are consistent in size, about as consistent I think as you can. So I'm going to plop these in.
I zoomed it a little bit
so you guys can see.
Yep.
So this should go fairly quick. I always say that, but then it never does.
Everybody just join in. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I love Fridays. I'll be loving next Friday, actually, because I love road trips. So we'll be on it's a six and a half hour drive there. And that's if we don't really stop, which we probably won't stop, or if we do, it'll be a short stop and then back on the road again.
Yeah.
So that's how far Tahoe is from here.
A lot of girls are saying congratulations. Remember photos?
Yes. So yeah. Steve's like, well, maybe we'll go live from Lake Tahoe, like on the lake. I'm like, well, we'll see what the weather's like, and we're hoping the things we can pray for is that we don't have smoke from the fires up there. So that's what we're planning on doing. So back at our tins, can't wait to see what this base is going to look like. Because you kind of just, you know, I pull this. Well, okay, here's how the whole design process went. Found the sign. From the sign, I went and got the mesh, which was, I had a couple of these ball mesh that I bought last year. One was way dark brown with bands of green, orange, and gold in it. Or this one that was more gold, just a touch of brown. So I decided, let's do this one. We'll go more traditional fall, not the darker fall. Because the fall mesh wreaths right now are selling really, really good. Okay, so my whole goal is take the, as I'm building this, taking the tinsel ties and bringing them to the outside because they're easier to find that way. So once I have my mesh, then I looked at ribbon, and then I looked at, okay, do I just want to do a 21-inch base or do I want to pop some other colors in here with a with that orange tinsel? How did I want to go?
Yep, the sign says Welcome Friends.
And Hobby Lobby used to have this sign before, and it was done with a different color. So they have subsequently remanufactured this sign in black so that you can actually see it. Before it was kind of like a stainless steel etch, and you had difficulty depending upon which way the sign hit the light to even know what the sign said. So I'm glad that they did it in black. So we shall see how this all turns out. So I have met up with my inside. So this is just our inside mesh on the inside 9. So I'm just making sure that everything is poofed out the way it should be, that everything is roughly the same height that it should be. And now we're going to work to the outside. So right where I have this, I have a tinsel tie that's right below that. I'm actually going to jump to this one way over here, and that's where I'm going to put my first 10-inch. Otherwise, it's a really short jump just right below. So that will be actually where I finish up.
Sure, so I don't think I bought that 10-inch, the sign. Karen asked, can you do that same technique with the flatter forms as well? Yes.
Yes, you can. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing that dictates that this has to be on a work frame. I could do this on a 14-inch Dollar Tree frame and have it look similar.
The sign is from Hobby Lobby, gals.
Yeah. And I think Hobby Lobby still carries that sign, believe it or not.
Oh, Michelle, good job. Sold 20 fall and Halloween wreaths this week.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is really crazy. Are you selling them through your shop, or are you doing a craft fair?
Locally? Yeah.
Yeah. It is the time. This is what I was saying. We're getting really close to that Labor Day weekend where everything just goes crazy for wreath makers. So you've got to get your stuff made. So I'm trying to always push that inner bubble up and out. Okay.
Thank you, Mary. So beautiful fall colors and sign. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay.
And I know, right? She said, I'm ready for fall, tired of the heat and smoke.
Yeah, we have had a very unusual summer here in California. It has just been the worst summer I think I can recall, where we've just had nothing but consistent hot weather, like without a break at all. No desert thunderstorms, like all the monsoonal moistures kind of like just skipping right over California.
Michelle said she sold them through her shop.
Nice, good job.
She has 2 events this weekend. I'm so excited. Good.
Hopefully you have enough inventory to
Hopefully
get you through the weekend, right? You're like, I wasn't planning on selling so many through my shop, but that's a good problem to have. Where everything is selling, it just means you're right where you need to be.
And yeah, it's 21-inch Deco mesh with 10-inch poofs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Madukas said yes, mesh 21-inch poofs are 10 inches.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So we're slowly making our way around. I don't think I'm going to run this one all the way through, just because we're going to come back in with 10-inch and kind of accentuate some of the colors we have. And then that also will help thicken up the base. So just pulling tails to, or the tinsel ties to the outside, just so they're easier for me to find. I'll just push this one up so I don't stick it in the other one. There's 10 again. Okay. What do you guys think of the color of this mesh for the base? This is very fall-like, I think. Orange, gold, and brown. No reds, no yellows. open this one. You guys have plans for this weekend at all? What are you guys doing?
Karina, it's a 10-inch poof. 21-inch deco mesh, 10-inch poof.
Okay, moving.
Sydney, the mesh came from Craft Outlet, but she bought it last year.
Yeah, it was interesting, like, because I came in and I was telling Steven, like, I got to come up with a design for today. This was at noon. And he's like, do you have any idea what you want to make? And I'm like, well, kind of. It's fall. So something fall. I just haven't figured out colors and textures and all that fun stuff. Just making sure everything's nice and fluffy. And this looks like we are right to where I dropped this.
Just gonna love it. Love it. Great colors.
Thank you.
Teresa Plants taking 2 grandsons school clothes shopping.
Oh, that's right. It's so weird to know that school is starting again.
So no, I wish the cupcakes were real, but they're fake bakes.
They're fake bakes. But it's kind of interesting because we're kind of using the same berries that are on the cupcakes in the wreath for today. Okay, so I am done, and I'll show you exactly how much I have left. So this is about how much is left on the roll. So I'm not going to worry about this. I am going to just trim this right here. This is actually, it's probably enough to go one more time on the inside. So I'm going to take my leftover tails and bring this right back in. And I'm going to zip tie this to my cross beam, just like this. Ooh. There we go. And the reason why I do that is those are the only places really on this deco mesh that it will fray. So here's start, here's end, pretty much right where we left off. So this is the full poof base, and right now it measures 22 inches in diameter, but now we're going to come back in and we're going to accentuate this with some deco mesh curls. These are done in 10-inch pieces. So I have this, if you guys remember this before, we called this like, what was it, different shades of chocolate or shades of coffee is what some people labeled it. So these are all cut to 10-inch pieces, and all we're gonna do is I'm just gonna roll these into curls about 1 inch in diameter. I'm gonna load my bow dabber with about 3 sets of them. It's just easier to use my bow dabber to kind of help hold, kind of speed me along. All of this, as far as like the 10-inch mesh, is cut with a wood burning tool. I think someone said this reminds them of the Hershey dark chocolate.
I recall Kathy Ransom said she's going to a Christian comedy show.
How fun!
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be really fun.
Rosanna, yeah, it's a 21-inch, kind of like a mixture of high foil and regular fall.
That's kind of weird, you can't see that. Yeah, even the leftover roll, just because it's kind of on the long side.
Yeah.
You can't see what it should be. There we go. And then of course we cut it funny. But those are the colors, the orange, the dark brown, and gold.
Also, Janine from Ohio, loving your colors.
Thanks, Carol. Okay, so now we're just gonna take these two, we're gonna crisscross them, and we're gonna place these in every single one of the 18 tinsel ties. So just by doing the little crisscross just allows you to kind of have a different look. So when they're situated together, you have, you know, the orange in here, and then we have this, and then the orange.
Donna, no worries. She said, I'm a newbie. How do you send stars with sprinkles? Sprinkle, you could just kind of exit out of here, and then on the regular posting, it has the share. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do is just share it. That's what a lot of gals mean when they sprinkle it. It's just sharing the page.
Yeah. Some people believe that you're not allowed to say the word share on a Facebook Live, and actually you can. There's just certain reasons why you can't say share. So if you were doing a giveaway and your giveaway was based on how, like, you can enter as many times as you share, that would be the wrong way to use the share button. But in the past, people did that.
Right, and then stars in the bottom, you should have something that probably says like a star symbol on the bottom. Mm-hmm. If you click on that, you'd have to purchase stars. Like you could purchase $5 or $10.
So what each star represents is each star's worth a penny. So that if you did like 50 stars, that's just 50 cents. And so what we're doing right now, and I haven't created the goal yet, it's on my list of things to do. We're raising money through the month of August to help fund books for kids in whatever grade they are. Remember this? I think it was like a scholastic book thing where you brought those little papers home, and you could order books for your kids. Well, there's a lot of kids who can't afford to do that. So we're making sure that every child has the ability to have, I think the goal that we're doing is 8 books per kid for the whole year. So that's what our fundraising is working towards. So, and I hope to share photos with you once school goes back in session and the books are ordered. It was fun. We did that last year. So we just thought we would start that for August. And then each month we're going to have different fundraising for the STAR goals. So that's what the STAR goals are for August. So this will allow us to kind of pop a little bit of a darker brown. Because remember, right now we only have the dark band here of the brown. So I'm trying to bring in some more autumn tones.
Cam said Scholastic book fairs, love them.
I love them when I was a kid. My entire childhood was, I would go to the bookmobiles and I would sign up for all their summer reading things. Like if you read so many books, you got to pick from whatever goal they had. It was usually like some plastic toy animals or something like that, but that's where my love of books came from. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of kids need to read books more.
Pam, that's awesome. What a great thing to raise money for. As a retired kindergarten teacher, I still sponsor 2 kids in my old school.
See, that's what's so great is being able to do that. And I'm hoping that right now we're working on 1 classroom. So it just depends on how much money we raise. Trying to think. I don't know what the overall total is required for each classroom because it depends on the number of kids in each classroom. But we just thought 8 books was good because I think they get, what, like 2 per quarter?
Yeah. Thank you, Nadine. Nadine sent 200 stars.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Do you get a report? Do you kind of get a report on how many stars or how much money?
At the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever the cutoff date is for Facebook to tally all the stars, and then it usually tells you you have achieved this many stars this month, and this is what the total dollar value is. And so yeah, it's nice to be able to give back. I like that.
So the 10-inch brown metallic mesh she's using right now is from Joann's.
Yeah, but from like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And
we know I did do some research through Joann's, and they're not reselling this. This was from 2019 in their, what they call autumn place and time. But I looked to see, okay, well, maybe they'll launch a different version of it or something close. And right now, all they're doing is they have one that's brown, like a beige burlap. with the foil colors through it. So nothing like these, you know, what I call premium metallics. Now it just makes me wish I would have bought more. Because you're just never sure, you know, is this going to do well or is this not going to do well? So now we've done just the inside and you can totally see the volume and the thickness we're creating. So now we're going to move to the outside because this kind of created a base here. And so now what we're going to be doing is we're creating the base kind of on the outside. So we're going to be building that now. Just push this to the side so I can kind of push that up.
99 stars.
Thank you, Pam. 6, 7. I know it'll be fun too. What we did it last year, we had gotten a, they sent us a card with all the kids holding their books. So it was kind of cute because some of those books are like books I read to my kids when they were growing up. I just thought it was really nice. So you kind of get to see where your donations are going.
Hi, Rita. Oh, thank you, Gail. Gail sent 530 stars.
Thanks, Gail.
It's funny the numbers, 530.
Yeah, you know, hey, it all adds up and it all goes to a worthy cause. And then I think in September we're doing, blankets. Blankets for the homeless is what we're doing. We're going to coordinate that with our church who goes out and does ministry. So we buy brand new blankets and then we donate them and they take them out and do the missions to make sure that people, you know, have a nice blanket. So we have lots going on. Time to give back. See, so now these are just going to the outside level. So this is what you're seeing here. So as we just add these to the outside, it's just creating a different look. Okay. Grab 2 more. So we're about a third of the, no, more than a third of the way done. A third of the way complete on the bottom. So this will be our second third. That's that one. So I love the darker colors of fall, rather than the reds, yellows, oranges. And even as I'm loading my bow dabra, I don't have to be so overly concerned. Like right now I just added 2 orange on top of each other. As long as each set has 1 of each, it kind of doesn't matter what order I put these in. Because you're just going to grab 2.
Lynetta, the 21-inch is a proof method, so she didn't have to cut it at all. She just used most of the entire roll, and then the 10 inches she's using right now, they're just cut to 10 inches.
2. Okay, let's see. Crisscross. As long as you crisscross them, because then you get 1. Even when they sit next to each other, it doesn't look like they are. Crisscross. I love the work frames because you just give them like 2 good twists. Whereas like with the pipe cleaners where, you know, you have to make sure you get quite a few good twists in there. Because this has thicker wire to hold everything together. Okay, our last 6, and then our base will be done for this. I love this mesh. The brown, the different tones of the brown, the rust, and the gold. Hopefully someone will come up with it for next year. And last one. And sometimes people will say, well, how do you get your curls to stay? Like nothing is coming undone. Nothing is like fraying. It's, if you can contain the cut edges, then you've got your frays under control. So by rolling them, we take those cut edges and we're putting them on the inside. And then if you use really good quality mesh, you'll notice that it stays where it's supposed to. So literally, I think my curls are only an inch, about an inch.
Vanetta, we suggest you not getting the smaller Wadabra because that is just for hair bows, not for anything else.
You need the bigger one. Yeah, you don't want to be like, I mean, it's great if you want to make hair bows, but to make them for like what I'm using it for, you want the regular size one. Look at how beautiful that is. It's so rich and full. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the outside 9 and we're going to add tails to that, and then we're going to add our half bows. Then we'll come back, we'll add our sign, put our bow in, and then start embellishing.
Oh, thank you, Lee. She said, every wreath you make, I say, is my favorite one, and then you have another live, and I have a new favorite.
I'm sorry.
Love your color combinations.
Thank you. Okay, so these are our color combinations for our ribbons, so let me show you. So all the 1.5" ribbon is cut to 18-inch pieces. The 2.5 inch is cut to 14-inch. So these two are going to go together as our combination. And then we're taking an 1.5" with the pumpkin, and then this orange with like a orange glitter, where they all come from. So I'll tell you. Yeah, Steve has them all written down. I'm just going to go ahead and start with my plaid. I'm going to go ahead and put those in, every other one.
So the 2.5 inch fall plaid ribbon is from Michaels.
Michaels.
And then there's a 2.5 inch orange with the gold edge ribbon. That's from Craft Outlet. And then we'll get into the other two once you do
the 1.5", the brown.
Yeah.
You can do the brown. Where's the brown from?
The 1.5" brown ribbon is from Crinkle Design. And the 1.5" pumpkin is from Shinoda.
There you go. So now you know where they all went. And since I'm doing this, I'm just going to go ahead. So I put this in right on top. So this is our 2.5 inch, and I fan them to the outside because it draws your eyes to the outside. Then we're going to come back and take our 18-inch piece. We're going to go up about 2 inches from the top, pinch that in, and we're just going to lay this right on top of our tinsel. Give it a couple good twists. We're going to open this up. We're going to need to right side one of our ribbons. It's kind of weird doing it upside down. And then, let me pull this.
I just love it. The base is beautiful.
And then, hang tight. So it looks like this. So you fan it out, and then these are just going to be on the outside. So just alternating the color combinations. So the next one will be this orange with the high glitter. That'll go here. 2 good twists. Fan it out, and we'll put our pumpkins, because our sign does say Welcome Friends with the pumpkins on it. I'm going to make sure my pumpkins are at least facing in the right direction. And then we're going to always right side one. So let me spin these around so you can kind of see what they look like. Just like this. So this will be the alternating pattern all the way around. I'm actually surprised because when I pulled the 2.5 inch this plaid from Michael's, turns out that it was a 50-foot roll. And I was like, wow, did not know that. So I must have bought it when it went on sale for clearance. So yeah, really good deal. I'm always in the clearance sections. Even when I'm on Craft Outlet or the Reshop, I'm always looking at clearance or what's on sale. Even if it's not something that is relevant right now, well, it could be relevant. Or if it's a really good deal, you buy it anyway and then add it to your seasonal bin. And then you're already that much further ahead of the game when that season does come around, like Valentine's Day. Okay. So doing 9 to the outside does pose a little bit of a challenge when you think about it. If you're alternating 2 different colors, 2 doesn't go into 9 evenly. It's an odd number and an even number. So I'm going to show you what we do for the 9th piece. I think you'll like it. So you're still going to be able to see all those brilliant colors. We're not going to cover it up. We're just going to accentuate the areas where you've got that bright orange tinsel tie. We need to kind of pop that up a little bit. And I leave my tinsel ties on. That's why I try to coordinate my base with the types of ribbon or mesh that I'm using so that those actually become incorporated into the design itself. We're slowly getting there. Brown. Hang on a second. Grab the wrong one. The orange. Making sure I didn't do that again. This one.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting question.
What's that?
Nancy asks, how many wreaths does the average person sell on Etsy a month?
It depends.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on what the season is. So June and August are June's for sure is typically a very slow month for wreath makers, as is tail end of December, believe it or not, beginning of January. So we just have, you start to understand what the ebbs and flows of the business are. So, you know, you would think you'd sell a ton of wreaths in July for, you know, 4th of July, but those are all sold like early May. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. It just depends on your price point. It depends on what's happening in the world. So let me show you what we're doing on the last one.
And Karen, no, with the leftover 21-inch mesh, there isn't really enough to make another wreath.
Nah, I just toss it. If I wasn't adding the curls, I probably would have gone through and used it. So on the last one, I'm actually taking and combining both colors. So it's going to have a little bit of a double in here. So it gets one of each. I just need to make sure everything is there. And then we're doing what's called a double bow in this section. So we're going to take 1.5 inches of the brown, 1.5 inches of the pumpkin. We're going to put them together, and then we're going to crisscross them. So wait till I put this all in, and I can show you what it looks like. Get everything flipped the right way. Flip this side. The nice thing about wired ribbon is when you go to fluff it, it'll stay where you fluffed it until you smash it again. But, you know, sometimes if you go to flip it up, it'll stay flipped up. Like, oh, I don't need you in the way, just flip here. So this is how you incorporate your double bow with the double tail so that it evens out, but still goes in conjunction with our design. And so now we're going to work on our bow. So I'm just going to set this to the side. We're going to grab all of our bow colors. So the only thing I have as far as sprays is just the tinsel, the orange, the Day Glow orange tinsel from twisting it will sometimes kind of peel off. So we have our 2.5, 2.5, 1.5 inches. And then here's our brown. We're also going to incorporate this tricolor brown. So we have a light, a dark, and then a tan. And then we're also going to come in with the tan with our fall colored leaves. So these are our color palettes. So we'll start with this, go to the orange, move to our leaves. I am looking how I want to phase these. Don't like that. So move them up. Let's try this color combination, because I don't think I like the solid and solid. I need to break that up a bit, and I definitely don't like that. So this and this will swap, just like so. That's how we're gonna build the bow. So I'm gonna take these 4, set them aside. Isn't that crazy? This is a 50-foot roll.
Yeah.
But this is a 10-foot roll. It's just insane. But the first thing we need to do is dovetail our ends, which just means bring your wired edges together. You're going to cut from the fold to the point of your wire ribbon. And depending upon how deep you like your bee is how far up on the fold you want to go. I like mine pretty deep. I don't like them shallow. And we're going to do this one at 10 inches. So this ribbon doesn't really have a right or wrong side. If it did, we start on the right side, twist to the wrong side, Then you're going to bring it over the top. That puts you back on the right side. I'm going to line up my bow dabber so that the line lines up on the 10-inch. And let's go 5.5 inches. So I just pull this in, make sure that the diameter, the length of my ribbon is 5.5 inches flat. Do the same thing here. Okay, and then we have 10-inch tail. Again, dovetail your ends. My glue gun's plugged in. I'm just making sure that like the next step's ready. And now we'll take that orange with the glitter edge. Same thing. This one is 9.5 inches. Again, this one is like, it doesn't really have a right or wrong, but you still follow the process the exact same. This one's going to be 5-inch loop. So I'm always measuring both sides before I go on. Okay. 9.5. Dovetail. Now we'll use our banded ribbon. This came from Crinkle Designs. Go ahead and cut the end off where it was folded, and then do our dovetail. This one actually has wire 4 different places on the ribbon. So it's wired on the outside edge, and then it's wired in between each of the colored bands. So you have to be careful with this one, because when you go to fluff it and pull it, if you pull it this way, you will separate the layers because they're...
Cheryl, that's something that takes a while to get used to and to just make sure that you're on top of it. She said, I made the sad mistake of buying a ton of 2.5 inch ribbon and not enough 1.5 inches to go with it.
We all do that.
It just takes time.
Yeah, we all do that. You know, sometimes we get caught up in what's available. And so if everything that's available right now is just 2.5 inch ribbon, then you buy 2.5 inch ribbon. And then, you know, lo and behold, all of a sudden they get a restock, and now it's all 1.5 inch ribbon is back in stock. So I just find that if you can pace yourself with solid colors, that can sometimes help you offset all the pretty patterns. It also gives you a different design look. So by using 6 different ribbons, we're actually using a lot less of them than we would be if we were trying to incorporate them all. Like just maybe just 1, 2.5, and maybe 2.5 inches. You would end up using more of that to create your bow. So I find the more ribbon I can add, the further I can go on my ribbon rolls when I do this. So this one is actually going to be 8.5 inches, and it's going to be the same 4.5 inch loop as the one underneath. So because I've already measured this, I can keep my fingers in it and pull to make sure they're the same. I just have to measure my tail lengths. So these are both 4.5 and then 8.5.
Michelle said, yes, the solids have saved me a time or two with free.
Yeah, and they're a lot less expensive. So we just sometimes forget how nice a solid color can look in here. Like, it doesn't always have to be all about pattern, pattern, pattern. Like our brown, you know, even coming in with the solid orange, I could have come in with a different color orange and toggled the colors between the patterns. This one's going to be 8-inch tail with a 4-inch loop. And I always end with a patterned ribbon just because that's what you see on the outside. So 4 inches. And 4 inches. And an 8-inch tail. Trying not to pull on it.
Cheryl, yeah, cat too. So I like to buy the solids in 50 yards if you can.
Oh yeah, I would get them in 100 yard spools if I can get them, because then you're pretty much set for the whole year. You know, just getting your base colors, you know, red, blue, yellow, orange, purple.
Oh, thank you, Carol. She said, thank you so much for sharing your talents and explaining what you were doing each step along with the measurements.
Oh, you're so welcome. So this last one is a 7.5-inch tail with a 3.5-inch loop. Okay.
You can tell most of that's thick ribbon out because you can see the stack so thick.
Yeah, it is thick ribbon, but that's good. You know, nothing compares buying good quality ribbon. And then out to 7.5. Just right about there. This one back. So it's really thick. Because when you go to put your pin in and your pin wants to bend, that's how I can tell it's thick. Okay. Let's get a pipe cleaner in orange. I always put it in a U shape so it's easier to grab because it's all ready to go. And I'm compressing this as I lift it up, so there's your layers of all the ribbon. Just kind of position it like this, just like so. So you can slide your pipe cleaner right between it. Just kind of hold it tight to the base and then spin it. Get a couple good spins on there. And then we'll be ready to fluff it. So we have an 18 by 24 inch by 3/4 inch cutting board that I use for my fluff board. Easiest way for you guys to save money is just go to Lowe's or Home Depot, buy it in 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick, get an 1.5 to 2 inch C or cup hook, and just screw it right to the center of your board. Then you're just gonna take your pipe cleaner, you're gonna hook it along this edge. So you'll see as I bring it around, it's hooked around my pipe cleaner, and then it allows me to separate. So I'm going to pull a tail, here's my pipe cleaner, and my loop, go to the other side, find the loop and pull it out opposite, and your tail's gonna come the opposite way. This way, if you were to look across from each other, you have tails and you have loops. And we're gonna do that as we work the entire stack down. So just like this, here's our loop and tail. Try to get my fingers under the stack. Here's our tail and my loop. Then we're doing the other side. So this is where I'm saying be careful when you go to pull this so you don't separate the layers. Here's my tail, here's my loop, loop and tail, tail and loop, loop and tail, tail. Here's the loop. There we go here. And then bring this over. And then once you've got everything separated, this is where you get to, as a creative designer, decide where you want everything to lay. How do you want your loops to lay on top of each other? Where do you want your tails to wind up? Do you want them all on one side? Do you want them mixed in with the loops? It's entirely up to you. Just make sure you fluff everything, because our bow's meant to be three-dimensional and not flat. Although if you were shipping this, you could ship it flat to help save the customer some money on shipping. And then they would just have to go through this process of just putting their fingers in and fluffing the ribbons to whatever their desired look is. And to put those arcs back in your ribbon, you just kind of run your fingers down the ribbon like curling ribbon if your fingers were scissors. And you can even get it to work on the bottom. You're just going to kind of do it more with your hand. I'm just kind of playing with my look. Okay, there is my bow. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the wreath. So now to take it off, I just put my hand underneath the bottom and just kind of put your fingers on either side of the C-hook and just follow it over. Like, you know, it came on this way, so you're going to push it off the opposite direction. And then you're good to go.
Although it said, did you put curls in every spot? I think you just did the outside, right?
No, I put them in every spot.
Every spot.
Yeah. They're all over.
That was the girl's beautiful, and I'm going to Lowe's tomorrow and make a fluff box or board.
Fluff board. They're just so much easier
the
because you can stack them next to your refrigerator like the cutting board. Yeah. So it's all about space. Before we put the bow on, I am actually going to attach my pipe cleaners to my sign. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my rope. We're just going to attach 2 pipe cleaners to the back with a staple gun, because this is more than a 1/4 inch thick, and I make sure that I have 1/4 inch staples in here. I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of bend these into a U shape, just like so. Staple gun. Apologize for the noise. Yeah, it drives my cats crazy. They don't like it. Give them a couple twists so they don't pull out.
Oh, sure, that's awesome. She said my bows got better with the board.
Yeah, for some reason they did. Again, twist. And then we're ready to look at, where do we want to put our sign? You know, do you want it kind of tilted? I'm always about the tilt. Let me look at that. So let me show you what it looks like with the sign on. So, if you wanted to go middle, look at how pretty this is. It is definitely says fall. So I'm just going to kind of push mine off to the side at a tilt like this so that my bow can go right here. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, work it down to my frame. There we go. Try to make sure that I get my, I don't want to go through a curl, just on either side of them. I want to make sure my pipe cleaners don't bend as we go through the mesh. This one's through. Let's flip this one upside down so I can find the one little thread that has wrapped itself around the end that is preventing it from going all the way through. Super simple like this.
Yep, the sign is from Hobby Lobby.
Flip it back over. Find it. Like so. How did Kat have that? Just like so. Try not to get it to wind up in the center, but I have to make sure I hit the outside rail as well. If I actually put the pipe cleaner where I need it to be, then it'll go. There's one. It's always that one, trying to work it through the mesh. Flip it back over so we can find the one, and then also make sure that you're going around one of your frames, just like this. We'll just twist it all the way. Kind of tuck that down. So now we need to pull some of our little coils out of the way. They may have gotten squished in the process. We have one there. Here's the other one. There's our orange. Got those. Got these. Looking for the orange one. Here it is. There we go. Okay. Like that. Like that look. Now we'll add the bow. So I want my bow. I always make sure that I like where my tails and my loops are going to wind up. And I want to make sure that nothing impedes my sign. And that again, you hit the bottom of your frame. Always find the first one, it's always the second one. You always hold one because you don't want to let go and lose the first one while you're trying to get the second one through. Okay. And as you're pulling it, you don't want to pull it too tight that you collapse the bow you just worked so hard to make. But if you have some of these tails in the way, either move them to the side to make room for your bow, like this one right here, and these two, or you can tuck them under so that our bow can lay while I don't have a curl popping out. And then just refluff. Here we go. Now, I'm going to tuck, move my tails into a different place. Okay, now we're going to embellish slightly. So let me show you what this looks like.
Just my daughter's a teacher and she always buys for those who can't order anything.
Yeah. Have a heart for kids. Okay, so this is where our sign and our bow. So now we're going to embellish it We're gonna add some pumpkins. Now you're like, where are you gonna put anything? I'll show you. Okay. Just picky where I want certain colors. Okay, so Hobby Lobby sells little pumpkins like this. It's $1.99. And right now their pumpkins are 40% off. So it's basically like $1.20. We just gotta get the price tag off. And then we need to figure out where we want these to go. So I'm thinking for sure I need one here. And I'm thinking down here. So let me just, there we go. Let me trim this down. Right in here. Kind of off to the side a bit. Like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and attach these. So I'm using Gorilla Glue on my hot glue gun. This is set to low. So I use a silicone mat to catch anything that falls. Just like this. And I'm going to put quite a bit on there. This is the one that's going to go sideways. It's going to lay sideways. This one's going to lay down. Probably angled the other direction so they don't look like I angled them the same. Just like that. So we've added some pumpkins and we want to add some fall leaves. So this whole pick was my little demo thing. So I like the darker brown. This came from Hobby Lobby as well. So these are just maple leaves. You can totally tell I pulled these quite apart, or pulled them apart, used them quite a bit. So I'm pulling off all the ones that look a little nicer. Because there's always ones that just look like this. But what you can do is you can take these with a slightly warm iron, put a little spray starch on them, and then just kind of iron them flat. So I'm going to add some fall leaves around those pumpkins. So like this one. I'm going to go with a little bit of a brown. Same thing with here. I'll spin this around so you can actually see. Just so that they have some leaves to sit on. I'm doing two different color browns, one a more chocolate brown, and this one's kind of like more of a caramel color. We'll add our caramel to this side. Where's my caramel color one? It's right here. If you smash your ribbons in the process, just make sure you refluff. I'm going to tuck a couple of these in around my bow. Okay. I'll add some more over here. A little bit of the darker colors though. We'll tuck some in under a couple of the loops. Because they're pretty much the same color anyway. And then we'll add some berries. And then we shall be done. Okay, so the berries are from Hobby Lobby as well. So I'm sure you've seen these in their seasonal section. So I try to just find a trio, because then you get the darker, the red, and the lighter. And I'm gonna add these next to my pumpkins. So we have pumpkins, leaves, and berries.
Hey Sharon, no worries. Cheryl said, I'm also loving the denim blue and all the fall wreaths that she's doing too.
Yes, I love the incorporating the blue now in this. So believe it or not, those are coming this weekend again. So more of a blue jean blue, I guess. This one doesn't have the trio. No trio. We have some singles. It's a different trio. So these are just kind of snug up underneath my pumpkin. So I'll kind of spin this one so you can see the one I just did. Looking at colors. Here's another trio. Why do they have to stick them together? No, that didn't work. I really want the red. Okay. Let's see.
That's so beautiful. I love your details.
I see, this to me is the best part of making a wreath, is all the details you get. And I think I'm going to, because I can't find a trio of berries that I like, I'm just going to create my own. So I'm going to add these right to the inside of my bow. So there's the orange. Let's just remove this one. I want that one. Here's the darker berry. Thanks, Steve. So we have a light, a dark, and our orange.
Give it lots of likes and loves.
I like adding the little berry touches because they're subtle enough that you can kind of tuck them in.
Ooh, Cheryl, I like that quote.
What's that?
You said, details make the sales.
It could. It just depends on if someone likes the details you have. We hope that they like what we're adding, right?
Yep.
There's another two. Every time they stick those ones together, it just kind of really ruins what you can and can't add. So I'm trying to find ones that if we add them, look. Okay, so I'm just kind of coming in and just adding a couple berries. It's almost pointless for me, like there's not enough really left on this pick, so I'm just kind of incorporating them and putting them around the base of the front. So wherever it's stuck together, I kind of have to make use of it. Like that, conglomeration. They're all stuck together. So I will trim the top. And look at how I can, where this could fit. So, like the last one. So I like this, but I didn't like the edge just hanging out by itself. So details matter, right? Remove these. Here's two. Let's get rid of the one. Trying to get in here and add. There's some. Let me take this one down here, the bottom. And I'm just kind of tucking them underneath the tinsel of the bow. Sometimes I wish you can. Okay. Pulling all my glue aside. Almost done. That's pretty much done. That one's pretty much done. Done. So where all the details matter, right? At the top. You just got to be careful where everything goes. Here's a nice black one that we can kind of create our own mix. Okay, we are done. Because all these ones, they all stuck together, so when you pull them apart, they kind of turn white.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to see that, right? That's it. Okay, let me just flip these real quick from us fluffing and moving stuff, and I'll show you it on the door. So the door behind me is a traditional, well, it would be an average size 36-inch wide outdoor door. Remember, indoor doors are thinner, so if you take a picture of your wreaths on your interior doors, your customers are likely to think that the wreaths should be bigger than what they are, because if they're looking at the space around what's left, it could be a little deceiving that the wreath is looks bigger than what it is. So for example, this on a smaller door might kind of wind up here, so it looks like it's fuller, less space around it. So this now fits here. So now you can see where this falls on an average size door. There we go. And then make sure you fluff all your ribbons for your photos. Make sure everything looks really pretty. Again, all those details you worked so hard on, you want to make sure all that is seen on your design. It's kind of nice because the double bow worked out here at the bottom. Here's my tail. Okay, what do you guys think? How did that turn out? This is actually listed on my website only, so if you're interested, it is available for sale. All you'll see, however, is the sign, because the design at that point, we didn't know how it would wind up, but I love all the different colors of the rust, the orange, the lighter tans, the deeper, darker browns. I just think that it really emphasizes what fall looks like.
Yeah. I like I was saying, wonderful, love it, spectacular.
Nice. Okay, well, Sunday is when I'll see the public group again. It will be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Private group people, if you want to join my private group, you can just go to KatsCreationsNMore.com. $17 a month will get you 8 tutorials per month, which is roughly like less than $2 a tutorial, or just a touch over $2 per tutorial. Plus you get the entire library of all of my private lives since 2018. So almost 3 years worth of private lives that are all accessible to you. Discounts from vendors and what have you. And then you get a ton more information. And we meet every Sunday at 3 Pacific, 5 Central, 6 Eastern Time. And then Mondays at 5 Pacific, 7 Central. I hate doing the math. And at 8 Eastern Time because it's different. It's so much easier if I go Sundays at 3 Pacific and Mondays at 5 p.m. And there you have it. That's what we're working on. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thanks, everyone.